Hello, fellow explorers of the mind. Today I want to talk about the animation Inside Out and the lessons it teaches us from a psychological perspective. But before I get to that, welcome to Psycho Explorer. If you care about mental health, like me, don't forget to subscribe and explore with me the mystic world of human psychology. Many parents out there have at some point wished to be able to explain to their children with simple words how the human mind works, what emotions are, and what they mean. Even adults sometimes wish they could understand better what's going on inside their heads. I know I do. Disney touched upon the topic for the first time in 1943 with the short film Reason and Emotion that depicts the endless fight between what we feel and what we think is best. 70 years later, in 2015, the wishes for a simple explanation of our mental world will be granted, and the Pixar animation Inside Out will be out in the big screen. The movie was made with the help of two important psychologists, Paul Ekman and Decker Keltner. The biggest part of the movie takes place inside of the mind of Riley, an 11-year-old that moves with her parents to another town. The movie gives us the chance to see from the inside what Riley feels in her try to adjust to the new reality. In the movie, the human emotions were approached following the theory of the 7 basic emotions by Paul Ekman, a leader in the field of emotion research. Ekman proposed that there are 7 core emotions encountered universally. The emotions are joy, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, surprise, and contempt. And 5 of these were used for the making of Inside Out. The emotions come to life in the form of cartoons that work in the control panel, which is just a metaphor for Riley's mind. Each emotion is depicted in a different way, with different colors, different behavior, and different function. Joy is the only emotion that looks humanish. She shines like a star, she's full of excitement, and she tries to get all other emotions to see the sunny side of life. She's the leader in the control panel because Riley is, by temperament, a very excited, a very optimistic and adventurous child. However, all emotions can take the wheel of control when the situation requires it. For example, fear protects Riley from danger. Fear is a little creature that is so tall and thin that looks like a nerve, and he prevents Riley from harm. Disgust, on the other side, is a green, well-dressed diva. She protects Riley from food poisoning, and she takes care of her social status at school. Anger is a red guy, and he's square and thick like a brick. His job is to make sure no one will be unfair to Riley. If that happens, a fire explodes in his head, and Riley gets in attack mode. Lastly, sadness is blue, has the shape of a tear. She's sad all the time, she cries a lot, and she says that this is something that soothes her. She apologizes often, she seems tired. At the beginning, all other emotions want to restrict her job, and they're not quite sure, and they don't quite understand what her job is inside of Riley's mind. In the control panel, emotions work as a team and they listen to one another. They affect each other even if only one has the wheel of control. Each of them tries in their unique way to cover Riley's need. Their ultimate goal is her happiness. Emotions color her experience and her relationships with other people. They also light different sides of her memories, which are not exact depictions of the past. That means that Riley might remember an event differently from how she lived it at the moment, depending on her emotions on the here and now. For example, there is a scene where Riley is sad and at the same time reminiscing some happy past memories from when she was back home with her family and friends. We see how her present emotional state colors these memories and they become blue. This shows us how human memory works, and it draws our attention to not trust memory blindly. Inside Out dispels the myth that happiness is all about experiencing positive emotions. On the contrary, people that experience a wide range of emotions, both positive and negative, have better mental health. As Charles Darwin said in 1872 in his book The Expression of Emotion in Man and Animal, all emotions have an evolutionary function, a reason to exist. And this is true because each emotion gives some other information about the situation the person has to confront, so they're led to make wiser choices. And anyway, joy is not always an appropriate emotional reaction. We shouldn't force ourselves nor others to be happy all the time. In her book Positivity, Barbara Fredrickson highlights that excessive positive emotion in the absence of negative can make us inflexible in new challenges. The movie shows this beautifully when Ping Pong, Riley's imaginary friend, is sad. Joy rushes into making him laugh and encourages him to see the positive side of things, but this doesn't help him that much. On the other hand, we see that sadness is emotionally attuned to him. She sits by his side and she just listens. She's just there and she lets him experience whatever he's experiencing. She accepts all his emotions. I'm wondering how many of us are able to deal with such maturity with a fellow human being who is in pain. I notice that all my close friends are people who will just sit with me when I'm not feeling well. They will not try to fix me. They will just sit there and listen. And only if I ask them, only then they will give me some advice or try to cheer me up. I always had the sense that people who respond in ways like, come on, don't worry about it, let's have fun, are just people that are not ready to confront these feelings. They avoid these experiences. And of course, I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying that they're bad people or they don't care about you. It's just that they're not prepared for the situations. However, whether we like it or not, sadness is an integral part of us, and this is one of the greatest lessons of Inside Out. It is our way to deal with loss. Without sadness, we wouldn't care about anything. Sadness helps people around us understand that something is wrong and comfort us. It connects us in a deeper level with them, and we are led to happiness. Paradoxically, let's not forget that in the end of the movie, sadness is the one that saves Riley so she doesn't run away from home. She helps her show to her parents that she's not satisfied. So they reassure her and they say that they're also sad because they moved in another city, and we see Riley experiencing something meaningful. We see joy and sadness coexist inside her. I don't think it's a coincidence that many of the intelligent, witty, mature people I've crossed paths with are people that have known great pain in life. There's something in negative emotions that matures the soul. And I have to point out here the difference between depression and sadness. Sadness is adaptive and useful. Depression is a bad sign. In the movie, we see that for a quick moment, Riley experiences depression. We may better say that she doesn't know how to handle her emotions than she has clinical depression, but anyway, the depiction of depression in the movie is great. The control panel becomes black, the buttons stop working, and the emotions say to each other, we can't make Riley feel anything. She experiences a moment of apathy. Of course, in depression, this is more than just a moment, but you can see now the difference between depression and sadness. Sadness reveals something about ourselves. Imagine if you enter into a bus and someone makes fun of you or they look at you in a judgmental way. Maybe you will feel sad, and this is useful information because it shows you that the opinion of other people matters and you want other people to like you. In the beginning of the movie, Joy paints a circle so that sadness will stay inside, suppressing this way her expression. By the end of the movie, Joy realizes that sadness has great worth. Sometimes we have to sit in a dark place for a while until we have the courage to climb back up. If ourselves ask for this, the best we can do is listen to this need, to embrace even difficult and painful emotions. We have to learn to deal with heartbreak. And this is a lesson the Western world needed to hear. It is okay to feel sad and stressed and angry. In fact, if we didn't, we probably wouldn't be alive. We tend to be afraid of these emotions or consider weak anyone that has them. That's wrong and it needs to change. It's good to feel what needs feeling. Accepting, experiencing, and managing our emotions with respect means we're growing up. So I want to close with an advice for parents or future parents. I imagine it's difficult to see your child being in pain, whether that be being sad or angry or afraid. And of course, all parents want their children to be happy. But you don't always have to keep them happy. Let them experience other emotions as well, negative ones, sadness, It's natural, it's normal, and it's desirable. That doesn't mean that if your child is depressed, you will sit around doing nothing, that's clear. But if they are experiencing for some moment sadness or any other negative emotion, it will be more useful for them if you just sit with them and you discuss it. See together what is it that they're making them sad. Why do they feel that way? And maybe try and find solutions, but without rushing, without anxiety. Or you can just sit with them and let them experience their emotions. This way, your child will grow up feeling like it's okay to not be happy all the time. They will not have the need to suppress their emotions, their temperament, their behavior, their personality. They will be free. Accepting your children exactly as they are, without terms or conditions, is the greatest gift you can give them. That was my reflection of Inside Out. I hope you found some meaning in it. If that's true, don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell in order to receive a notification each time I upload new content. See you in the next video. Take care. Piastka. Hodlog. Oj. Pali látos. Ale bajt. Ty była nas kiedy rozmawiamy. To dobrą mamą.